From the dawn of time to the present day, the story of humankind is one of exploration, innovation, and resilience. We have ventured from the depths of the oceans to the far reaches of space, leaving our mark on history with every step. This is the epic journey of humankind, from stardust to stars. Our journey begins billions of years ago with the birth of the universe, a journey that has shaped our world and ourselves in ways we are only beginning to understand. Join us as we explore the story of humanity, a tale of wonder, tragedy, triumph, and boundless potential. It all began with a bang, a big bang to be precise. Roughly 13.8 billion years ago, an unimaginable explosion of energy created our universe, setting in motion the formation of galaxies, stars, and planets. Over billions of years, the universe expanded and cooled, giving birth to the Milky Way galaxy, where our own solar system would eventually emerge. About 4.5 billion years ago, amidst swirling clouds of gas and dust, our solar system took shape. Earth, a once molten ball of rock, began to cool, setting the stage for the most remarkable story in the universe, the story of life. On this volatile young planet, life found a way. In the primordial oceans, simple organic molecules began to assemble, forming the first primitive cells. These early forms of life were humble, single-celled organisms, but they would become the ancestors of all living things. Over the course of millions of years, life evolved, becoming more complex and diverse. Around 540 million years ago, the Cambrian explosion brought a sudden surge in the variety of life forms, with the oceans teeming with strange and wonderful creatures. This explosion of biodiversity laid the foundation for the evolution of more complex organisms. Life's next great leap came when some brave species ventured onto land. Amphibians, descendants of fish, adapted to life outside the water, paving the way for the evolution of reptiles, mammals, and eventually humans. For millions of years, dinosaurs ruled the earth, dominating the land, sea, and sky. But 66 million years ago, a catastrophic asteroid impact brought their reign to an abrupt end, causing mass extinctions and altering the course of life on Earth. In the aftermath of this disaster, mammals, once small and insignificant, began to thrive in the New World. These adaptable creatures diversified into countless species, evolving into the ancestors of modern mammals, including our own primate forebears. Among these early mammals were the primates, who evolved in the lush forests of Africa. Over millions of years, some primates developed larger brains and began to walk on two legs, a crucial adaptation that would eventually lead to the rise of Homo sapiens. Nearly 2.5 million years ago, the first members of the genus Homo appeared in Africa. These early humans were tool makers, using simple stone tools to hunt and gather food. Over time, their brains grew larger, and they began to develop more complex forms of communication and social organization. One of the most significant milestones in human evolution was the mastery of fire. This discovery not only provided warmth and protection, but also allowed early humans to cook food, leading to better nutrition and brain development. Fire also became a central element of human culture, symbolizing the power to conquer nature. With their growing intelligence and adaptability, early humans began to spread out of Africa, migrating across the globe. These migrations were driven by the need to find new resources in more hospitable environments. Over tens of thousands of years, humans settled in every corner of the world, from the frozen tundras of Siberia to the deserts of Australia. The end of the last ice age marked the beginning of a new chapter in human history. As the climate warmed, humans transitioned from a nomadic lifestyle to settled farming communities. The Neolithic Revolution, as it is known, saw the domestication of plants and animals, leading to the establishment of the first permanent settlements. These early agricultural societies laid the groundwork for civilization. With surplus food, communities grew larger and new social structures emerged. Villages and towns were built, and humans began to create art, develop writing, and form the first governments. Roughly 5,000 years ago, the first great civilizations emerged along the fertile river valleys of the Nile, Tigris, Euphrates, Indus, and Yellow rivers. These early civilizations, Egypt, Mesopotamia, the Indus Valley, and China, built monumental structures, developed writing systems, and established complex societies. In Mesopotamia, the land between the rivers, the Sumerians built the first cities and developed one of the earliest writing systems, cuneiform. Their ziggurats, towering temple complexes, stood as symbols of their devotion to the gods and their mastery of architecture. The Indus Valley Civilization, located in what is now Pakistan and northwest India, was known for its advanced urban planning and sophisticated water management systems. The cities of Harappa and Mohenjo-daro featured grid-like streets and elaborate drainage systems, highlighting the ingenuity of these early people. In China, powerful dynasties like the Shang and Zhou ruled over vast territories, developing intricate systems of governance, philosophy, and warfare. The construction of the Great Wall and the creation of the terracotta warriors during the Qin dynasty stand as testaments to the ambition and strength of these ancient rulers. The Persian Empire, founded by Cyrus the Great, became one of the largest empires of the ancient world. Spanning 3 continents, it was a melting pot of cultures, languages, and religions. The empire's capital, Persepolis, was a city of grand palaces and gardens, symbolizing the wealth and power of the Persian kings. In the Mediterranean, the Greeks laid the intellectual foundations of Western civilization. Their city-states, like Athens and Sparta, were centers of philosophy, science, and democracy. Philosophers such as Socrates, Plato, and Aristotle questioned the nature of existence and the universe, leaving a lasting legacy on human thought. The Romans, inspired by the Greeks, built an empire that stretched from Britain to the Middle East. Their achievements in engineering, law, and governance shaped the course of history. Roman roads, aqueducts, and the Colosseum stand as enduring symbols of their legacy. After the fall of the Western Roman Empire in 476 AD, Europe entered a period known as the Middle Ages. This era, often misunderstood as a dark age, was a time of profound transformation and development. Feudalism became the dominant social structure, with powerful lords ruling over vast territories from their fortified castles. Despite the challenges of the era, the Middle Ages saw remarkable achievements, particularly in architecture and religion. Gothic cathedrals, with their soaring spires and intricate stained glass, were built across Europe, reflecting the deep piety and artistic skill of the time. The early Middle Ages were also marked by the Viking Age, a period of exploration and expansion by Scandinavian seafarers. Known for their long ships and fierce raids, the Vikings left a lasting impact on Europe, not only through their conquests, but also through trade and cultural exchange. Feudalism created a rigid social hierarchy, with peasants working the land for their lords in exchange for protection. This system dominated European society for centuries, shaping the lives of millions. During this period, Christianity spread across Europe, becoming the dominant religion. Missionaries such as St. Patrick in Ireland and St. Augustine in England played a crucial role in converting pagan populations. The church became a powerful institution, influencing every aspect of life, from politics to education. In monasteries across Europe, monks dedicated themselves to prayer, study, and the preservation of knowledge. These monastic communities became centers of learning, where ancient texts were copied and studied, helping to preserve the intellectual heritage of Greece and Rome. The Middle Ages also saw the rise of the Crusades, a series of religious wars aimed at reclaiming the Holy Land from Muslim control. These conflicts, while devastating, led to increased contact between East and West, sparking a renewed interest in trade, science, and culture. Trade flourished during the later Middle Ages, with bustling markets and trade routes connecting Europe to Africa and Asia. The Silk Road, a network of trade routes stretching from China to the Mediterranean, brought silk, spices, and other exotic goods to Europe, fueling economic growth and cultural exchange. However, the Middle Ages were also a time of great suffering. The Black Death, a devastating plague that swept across Europe in the 14th century, killed millions and reshaped society. The loss of life led to labor shortages, weakening the feudal system and contributing to social and economic changes. By the late Middle Ages, Europe was beginning to emerge from its feudal past. Gothic architecture reached new heights of grandeur, and universities like Oxford and the Sorbonne were founded, laying the groundwork for the intellectual renaissance to come. The Renaissance, beginning in the 14th century, was a cultural and intellectual revival that celebrated the rediscovery of classical knowledge and the pursuit of individual achievement. Artists like Leonardo da Vinci and Michelangelo created some of the most iconic works of art in history, blending science and beauty in ways that continue to inspire. During this period, the scientific revolution took root, challenging old beliefs and laying the foundation for modern science. Figures like Galileo Galilei used the telescope to explore the heavens, while Isaac Newton formulated the laws of motion and universal gravitation, revolutionizing our understanding of the physical world. The Renaissance also sparked an age of exploration as Europeans set sail to discover new lands. In 1492, Christopher Columbus, backed by Spain, crossed the Atlantic and reached the Americas, opening up a new world of possibilities and conflicts. Portuguese explorers, led by Vasco da Gama, found a sea route to India, establishing direct trade links with Asia and bypassing the overland routes controlled by the Ottoman Empire. This era of exploration expanded Europe's horizons, bringing wealth and power to those who ventured beyond the known world. In 1518, Ferdinand Magellan embarked on a daring expedition to circumnavigate the globe. Although Magellan himself did not survive the journey, his expedition proved that the Earth was round and that the oceans were connected, forever changing our understanding of the world. These explorers, driven by the desire for wealth, knowledge, and glory, encountered diverse cultures and civilizations, leading to both exchanges and conflicts. The maps they brought back reshaped the European view of the world, paving the way for colonization and the spread of European influence. As exploration opened new frontiers, the scientific revolution continued to push the boundaries of knowledge. Scientists and thinkers began to question traditional authority, leading to groundbreaking discoveries in astronomy, physics, biology, and chemistry. These developments culminated in the Enlightenment, an intellectual movement that championed reason, individual rights, and the pursuit of knowledge. Thinkers like Voltaire, John Locke, and Jean-Jacques Rousseau questioned the status quo, advocating for political and social reforms that would inspire revolutions and shape the modern world. The dawn of the Industrial Revolution in the 18th century marked a new era in human history. Powered by steam engines and driven by the mechanization of production, the Industrial Revolution transformed economies, societies, and the environment on an unprecedented scale. Railways and steamships connected distant cities and continents, shrinking the world and accelerating the pace of change. Factories sprang up in urban centers, drawing people from rural areas in search of work. The shift from agrarian economies to industrial powerhouses brought both opportunities and challenges. As cities grew, so did the challenges of urbanization, overcrowding, pollution, and poor working conditions. The Industrial Revolution created immense wealth, but it also highlighted the stark inequalities in society, leading to the rise of labor movements and calls for social reform. Workers began to organize, demanding better wages, safer working conditions, and the right to unionize. The labor movement gained momentum, eventually leading to significant social and political changes, including the establishment of labor laws and the expansion of voting rights. The fight for equality was not limited to labor rights. Women who had been largely excluded from political life began to demand the right to vote and participate fully in society. The women's suffrage movement, which gained strength in the late 19th and early 20th centuries, achieved major victories, with women winning the right to vote in many countries by the early 20th century. The Industrial Revolution also sparked a wave of technological innovation. Electric lights illuminated homes and streets, automobiles revolutionized transportation, and the telephone connected people across great distances. These inventions transformed daily life and set the stage for the rapid technological advances of the 20th century. The beginning of the 20th century brought with it a period of unprecedented conflict and destruction. World War I, known as the Great War, began in 1914, triggered by the assassination of Archduke Franz Ferdinand of Austria. This event set off a chain reaction of alliances, plunging Europe into a brutal war. Trench warfare defined this conflict, with soldiers enduring horrific conditions as they fought for mere inches of ground. The war introduced new weapons of mass destruction, machine guns, poison gas, tanks, and aircraft, bringing death and devastation on a scale never before seen. Battles like the Somme and Verdun became symbols of the futility and horror of war, with millions of men losing their lives in these grueling confrontations. The war not only devastated Europe, but also had far-reaching impacts, redrawing national borders and sowing the seeds of future conflicts. The Treaty of Versailles, signed in 1919, officially ended the war, but its harsh terms and the unresolved tensions left behind would lead to further unrest. The war's aftermath saw the collapse of empires, economic turmoil, and a deep sense of disillusionment across Europe. In the wake of World War I, the world saw the rise of totalitarian regimes as leaders like Adolf Hitler in Germany, Benito Mussolini in Italy, and Joseph Stalin in the Soviet Union seized power. These regimes, characterized by extreme nationalism and brutal repression, set the stage for the next global conflict. The Great Depression of the 1930s further destabilized the world, leading to widespread poverty, unemployment, and political unrest. In Germany, Hitler's Nazi Party rose to power by exploiting economic fears and nationalist sentiments, promising to restore Germany's former glory. In 1939, Germany's invasion of Poland triggered World War II, a conflict even more destructive than the first. The war quickly spread across Europe, Asia, and Africa as Axis powers sought to expand their territories through military conquest. World War II witnessed some of the darkest chapters in human history, including the Holocaust, in which 6 million Jews and millions of others were systematically murdered by the Nazi regime. The war brought untold suffering to civilians, with entire cities destroyed by bombings and genocidal campaigns. Despite the overwhelming power of the Axis forces, the Allies, led by the United States, the Soviet Union, and the United Kingdom, gradually turned the tide of the war. Key battles, such as the D-Day landings in Normandy and the Battle of Stalingrad, marked turning points in the conflict. The war came to a devastating conclusion in 1945, with the dropping of atomic bombs on the Japanese cities of Hiroshima and Nagasaki. These bombings, which resulted in unprecedented destruction, forced Japan to surrender, bringing an end to World War II. The aftermath of World War II left the world in ruins. Entire countries were devastated, and millions of people were displaced. The war had reshaped the global order, leading to the emergence of the United States and the Soviet Union as superpowers and setting the stage for the Cold War. In the wake of the war, the world sought to ensure that such horrors would never happen again. The Nuremberg trials brought Nazi war criminals to justice, while the founding of the United Nations aimed to promote peace and cooperation among nations. The post-war world was defined by the Cold War, a tense standoff between the United States and the Soviet Union that lasted for nearly half a century. This period saw the world divided into two ideological blocs, with the threat of nuclear war hanging over humanity. The Cuban Missile Crisis in 1962 brought the world to the brink of nuclear conflict, while the Vietnam War and other proxy conflicts demonstrated the global reach of the Cold War. Despite these tensions, the era also saw significant progress in civil rights, decolonization, and the push for global peace. Amid the tensions of the Cold War, humanity also reached for the stars. In 1969, NASA's Apollo 11 mission achieved the unthinkable, landing the first humans on the moon. This achievement was a triumph not just for the United States, but for all of humanity, showcasing our potential to explore beyond our planet. The end of the Cold War came with the fall of the Berlin Wall in 1989 and the subsequent dissolution of the Soviet Union in 1991. These events marked the beginning of a new era as the world moved towards greater integration and globalization. The late 20th and early 21st centuries have seen rapid technological advancements, transforming every aspect of life. The rise of personal computers, the internet, and smartphones has revolutionized how we communicate, work, and live, connecting billions of people around the globe. But the modern world also faces unprecedented challenges. Climate change, pandemics, and political unrest threaten the stability and future of our planet. As we look to the future, we must confront these issues with the same spirit of innovation and resilience that has defined our journey so far. Today, humanity is once again reaching for the stars. Space exploration is entering a new era, with missions to Mars and beyond on the horizon. As we venture into the cosmos, we carry with us the hopes, dreams, and lessons of our long journey through history. Our journey from stardust to stars is far from over. The story of humanity is one of constant discovery, endless curiosity, and the unyielding drive to explore the unknown. As we continue to write the next chapters of our history, let us remember the lessons of the past and strive to create a future where all of humankind can thrive. We are the product of billions of years of evolution, of countless generations who have dreamed, struggled, and triumphed. Together, we will continue our epic journey, one that began with the birth of the universe and will reach as far as our imaginations can take us. Thank you for joining us on this incredible journey through the history of humankind. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more explorations of our world and beyond.